just Catherine has just given us lots of interesting tools. And when I was planning this third lesson, I was wondering if I should focus more on specific tools or talk about technology in broader sense. And I guess I probably chose the latter. So what I'm going to talk about is basically I want to kind of go back to the definition of interaction. And since today's session focuses on the learner-content interaction, I would like to kind of revisit that. I will also talk briefly about the purposes of using technology for the learner-content interaction and the qualities of technology-mediated tasks that can have an effect on the learner-content interaction. And then I will give just a few examples of tools, and I believe none of these were covered by Catherine. In particular, I will talk about a few tools for creating interactive reading tasks and a tool that can be used to create interactive integrative tasks, what I call interactive integrative tasks. So when we talk about the learner-content interaction, as I was looking at the literature to see what's out there in terms of technology for learner-content interaction, I noticed that different researchers, different people use somewhat different but related terms. So the learner-content interaction is the term that we use for this specific session. But I also noticed that people use such terms as learner information interaction, learner technology interaction, learner interface interaction. And although these terms are different, they are also related. And since we talk about the learner content interaction specifically in the context of online language education, the first two terms, learner content and learner information interaction, they focus specifically on the content and the information that language learners interact with. So these are tasks, activities, assignments, resources, materials, all this content in the target language that the learners interact with. But technology and interface are also related to that because in online classes, all this interaction happens through the medium of technology. So to kind of try to merge these different terms, I thought that it would be a good idea to talk about this learner content interaction as learner content technology mediated interaction, because this interaction that the learners have with the content, with all these materials, resources, tasks, is mediated through technology. So there are several purposes for which technology can be used for learner content interaction. One of them is learning new content. And here we talk about, here the focus is on the input. So these again, I will probably kind of repeat what Catherine has already said. Think of, for example, interactive listening tasks that are video-based, that come with annotations or subtitles, or reading tasks that use text with media-enhanced clauses. Another purpose is practicing new content. So here the focus is on the output. Things like interactive writing or speaking tasks that provide content in the multimedia format. And the third purpose is assessment and evaluation. So for example, creating an online quiz, which uses multiple choice or short response items that come with immediate feedback for students would be another purpose. One of the important things, I guess, that when we talk about the use of technology in learner content interaction is the quality of tasks that we as language educators create. These are the 6 qualities that come from Carol Chappell's book published in 2001. And what I thought as I was going through those qualities, I thought that would be relevant to this topic in the sense that these are the qualities of technology-mediated language learning tasks and how they may have an impact on the effectiveness of the learner content interaction. So to help us determine whether the tasks that we create, that we design for the online students, possess these 6 qualities, we can ask the following questions. So the first quality is the language learning potential. Basically, does the task that we create have a potential? The questions that we can ask is, does the task encourage learners to focus on form during their interaction with the content? Another quality is learner fit. So this has to do with how the task fits the learner's needs, learner's level, I guess, proficiency level. The question that we can ask is the difficulty level of the task appropriate for the learners. The third quality is meaning on focus on meaning. So the question that can be asked is, does the task encourage learners to use the language to construct meaning? The fourth thing is authenticity, and I believe one of the participants actually brought up a question about authentic tasks. So authenticity is an important quality. The question that we can ask here is, does the learner's performance during the learner-content interaction correspond to the interaction outside of the classroom? So in other words, does the performance that the task elicits from the learner resembles the type of interaction that learner would be engaged in outside of the classroom? The fifth quality is impact. So this has to do with the impact, what impact technology has on the learner's completion of the task. So the question would be, do learners have a positive experience with technology while completing the task? And the last quality is practicality. So is the technology that we choose for a specific language learning task appropriate for enabling a successful learner-content interaction during the completion of the task? So just to, I guess, summarize, these are the 6 qualities that we should keep in mind, think about when we create tasks that promote and encourage learner-content interaction. So now about technology, there are so many tools out there that can be used for creating, for enabling learner-content interaction. I will show you a resource that we use at the Center for Language and Technology at the University of Hawaii with different tools. But before I do that, I will just give you a couple of examples of the tools that can be used to create opportunities for learner-content interaction. So when we talk about the reading, Catherine has already talked about the reading quite a bit today. What I will show briefly is an example of an online dictionary. You all know that there are tons of online dictionaries for different languages. Lingo is it's not a traditional online dictionary. It is different in the sense that it's an online dictionary that allows users to enter a URL of a web page in the target language, and then make all the words on that web page clickable for translation. So let me try to go to the website and see if I can demonstrate how it works. So the website is lingo.com. Can you see the website? Lingo.com.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. So I believe that you should be able to see the website, but I guess my clicks will not be visible, but I will explain. So the Lingo unfortunately supports only Indo-European languages. I just clicked on the drop-down menu. I don't know if you can see the languages that it supports. It does have Chinese, but I believe I'll click the following. Okay. Thank you, Bridget. So this is the list of languages. I don't know if you can see it, that the website supports. It is mostly Indo-European languages. It does have Chinese, but Chinese is not great. Stephen tested it and it wasn't that good. But it does support languages like German, French, Spanish, Portuguese. So if you teach any of those languages, Russian too. So if you teach any of those languages, this might be a good resource. So basically the way it works is you enter a URL of the website in the target language. So in my case, I will go to a website in the German language, and I would like to get the English translation. So I will go to one of the German news websites, Zeit.de.
It's not showing yet. We're still seeing Lingro.
It's still loading. I'm afraid my internet is quite slow today. Okay. Can you see now something different? So there should be.
The page has loaded.
Okay. So the page has loaded. So you can see the text in German. Basically, the way it works, the learners open a web page in the target language, and then they have to select the language in which the web page is going to be, and then the translation that they need, probably in English in our case. So it works it's very simple.
Just to break in, everyone here, you can use this live. So you can click on any word on the page and you will see Lingro at work. So you can try it while Russ is still talking.
Yeah, I believe when I do the clicks now, you will not see them, but at least you can see the page. So I will explain what happens. If I click on a word, any word in the German language on this page, it will give me a pop-up window, and that pop-up window will have a translation of that specific word. And what I can do with that translation, in addition to just see what that word means in the English language, I can also add it to the word list. So it's not just an online translator, so to say, that gives me a translation of the word. It also allows me to create my word lists, basically digital flashcards that I can revisit later. And if I want to learn those words, I can go back to that word list that I've created after reading this web page and revisit it. So basically, as a learner, I create my own list of words that I want to work with, and through interacting with the website in the target language using Lingro.com. Okay. So I hope everyone has a chance to click around and see how it works. In order to create a word list, a user actually has to register to sign in. If you see at the bottom, there is a register and sign in links, so that when you come back to the website later, it knows where to pull your word list from. So Lingro.com can be used to create these interactive reading activities where you don't just tell learners, oh, go and read this text, but you can actually ask them to read the text, create their own word lists, and basically learn the vocabulary from that text. All right, I guess we will move to the next tool. Let me go back to the slides. Google Translate, everyone knows Google Translate, I believe. This is something that lots of our language students use, and oftentimes they abuse it in the sense that they would go enter the text, click translate, and then copy and paste the translation, which oftentimes look horrible. But Google Translate can actually be a good tool for translating individual words. And specifically here, I wanted to talk briefly about the Google Translate Chrome extension. So it's an online dictionary extension for the Chrome browser. Yeah, I see someone mentioned Rikaikun. Bridget, right. Rikaikun is very similar. Rikaikun is for Japanese only, I think. Google Translate has many more languages, probably covers most of the languages. So it's similar to Rikaikun. Basically, what you need to do is go to the Chrome browser under Preferences, Extensions, and add the Google Translate extension to the browser. And then every time you, as a learner, I'm talking, I guess, about learners. So every time a learner opens a web page in the target language and highlights a word or phrase in that target language, and there will be this Google icon appearing next to the highlighted text that can be clicked on, and the translation will appear. So basically, we have a built-in translator in a browser, and it can work with any type of content as long as it is web-based. Unfortunately, I will not be able to demonstrate it here because it is an extension for the browser, and I don't think this built-in browser in Blackboard Collaborate will show the extension. But for those who are interested, these are the instructions on how to install it. So if you want to play with it, and perhaps encourage your students to use. It's a really nice tool to use when you browse web pages in the target language. Instant translation. All right, and one more tool that I wanted to talk about that I think might be useful for for different levels and different languages is a Mashup. It's one of the rich internet applications that was created by the Center for Language Education and Research at Michigan State University. They have a suite of about a dozen different apps, and Mashup is one of them. It's a free web-based application. The only thing you need is to register. Let me see if I can actually show you this sample. I'll have to type in the URL in the new window. Okay, it has loaded for me. Can you see a web page with some text built in YouTube video? Okay, good. So what a Mashup is, as I said, it's a web-based application. Basically, it's a blank web page where you can add different types of content. It's super easy to use. You don't need any programming skills. You don't need any knowledge of HTML or CSS. Basically, all you need to do is to go to the CLIR's website, which Internet Applications, and I will, I think I have the, when I go back to the slide, you will see the link. You register there, and you can build this page. Basically, the way it works is you have different boxes where you enter text, where you enter the URLs of the videos that you want to embed, and where you can also add other applications developed by CLIR. So the web page that you see right now has three main components. The first one is the text, which is the instructions for the speaking activity. Basically, the instructions say that the students have to watch the video and then answer two questions afterwards. And then the way they answer the question is by recording their response using the audio Dropbox. The audio Dropbox is to the right from the video. It says audio Dropbox with the start button. It's also one of the rich internet applications from CLIR which I simply embedded in this mashup. So the way it worked, I went to the audio Dropbox. I created a Dropbox, which basically was giving a Dropbox is a place where the students can record their audio. So then I embedded it here, and I brought in the YouTube video. I had to type in the URL for the YouTube video. And then you have an option. It's very easy to rearrange these 3 elements or whatever number of elements you have on the page. And you have a very simple web page. All you need to do is to give the URL, the address of this web page to the students, and they can come and complete this task. So if you click on the video, you should be able to play the video. It's a very short video, about 2 minutes. And then when you click, when you're ready to answer the questions, you go to the audio Dropbox, click Start, enter your name and email address so that the instructor knows which of the students' response that is. And there is you need to enable the microphone and record your answers. So yeah, I think let's try to do it. If you see this page, you can click on the video to play it, and then I don't think you have to watch the whole 2 minutes. And then when you're ready to record your responses, click on the Start button in the audio Dropbox and see if you can record. So I'll give you about a minute or so to see if you can complete the task. One thing with the audio Dropbox is that when you set it up as an instructor, you can specify the length of the response that you want your students to record. So this audio Dropbox that I have here is set up to with a 30-second limit. But it can be anywhere, I think, up to an hour, I believe. I don't think you want an hour-long response from each student, though. So while you're trying, one thing I want to say is that the Mashup, I believe, is great for creating these types of interactive, integrative, as I call them, activities where you bring in different types of content, multimedia content. So Catherine was talking about, I know, oftentimes the fact that we oftentimes have learners who have different learning styles. Some learners get the content better from just reading it. Others need to watch it or listen to it. So you can, for example, use a Mashup to show a video, and then put a text, which is going to be basically a transcription of that video, and then create a task such as, using an audio Dropbox where you ask the students to answer some questions or do something else, or write a response, for example. So what happens to the Dropbox recordings on the instructor's end? All the recordings from the students get automatically saved in the audio Dropbox, and then an instructor can go to the audio Dropbox and basically see a list of MP3 files with the students' names and email addresses. And the instructor can listen and grade those. There is no really built-in mechanism, I think, to grade them and send the grades through Dropbox. It's just basically a tool for recording the audio from students' using a web-based application. Show us the audio Dropbox interface. Well, I think that would be pretty complicated because I will have to log in to the audio Dropbox. Yeah, it will probably take some time. But it is indeed all these, I believe, 12 rich internet applications. Mashup is one of them, audio Dropbox is another, and there are about 10 others from CLEAR, Center for Language Education and Research. Really, really great, very easy to use. So I definitely encourage everyone who would like to create these more kind of interactive types of tasks to go and explore those applications. Yes, and we'll the link to we will post the link to Rich Internet Applications and Resources. And I believe I did put it under Dig Deeper in the TED Ed for lesson 3. But if I haven't, then we will add it too. And again, this PowerPoint will be available in the Dig Deeper section of TED Ed lesson 3, so you will be able to get the URL from there. All right. Has anyone had a success with recording their response using audio Dropbox? Okay, Bridget, you did good. A black window. One thing I forgot to mention is that these rich internet applications, they don't behave equally well in all the browsers. I noticed that Chrome is the most problematic one. On Chrome, not all the features seem to work for it. So, for example, I know that on the instructor side, I, for example, do not see my previously created audio Dropbox when I go to my profile when I'm in Chrome, but not Firefox, Safari, it works just fine. I think Firefox is also good. Yeah, it is. I believe it's still Java based. I think they were talking about making everything HTML5, and I don't know when that's going to happen. But because it is Java-based, you might be experiencing some issues. But yeah, try not to use Chrome, try to use Safari or Firefox, and it should work fine. At least it does for me. Having a problem finding how to record, you should get a pop-up message asking you for permission to enable your audio. And you actually, as a students do not really need to sign in to use the audio Dropbox. All they need to do is to enter their name and email address. Right. So before we finish, as I said at the beginning of this lesson, there are so many different tools, and it's impossible to cover all of them. And tools appear every day and they disappear every day. New things appear, things change. I know there are some free tools that are free today, but they're not free tomorrow. So what we do at the Center for Language and Technology at the University of Hawaii is we have a website which we call a PLM Tool Browser. The URL is clt.manoa.hawaii.edu/PLM, and it is definitely in the Dig Deeper section. So PLM stands for Personal Learning Networks. It's basically a curated list of tools that we compiled based on our experience with different Web 2.0 tools and the recommendations that we got from other language teachers and educators. So we encourage you to go to this URL and take a look and see if there are any tools that you might find useful for your personal language teaching needs, so to say. The way it works is that on the left you have these different settings: application, format, function, price, support. Um, and on the right, you have a list of all these tools. Right now, we have 113 tools. And if you click on any of these links, like Amara, for example, when it opens up, I do not know if you can see it opened from my computer, but I think you should be able to click on it too. You will get a description of the tool. It explains what it is, and then it also gives the URL to the to that tool where you can find it. It gives the application. Basically, it describes what it can do. These applications that we have are we kind of came up with this list. You can see it's there are tools for assessment, audio, audience response, audio, blogging forum, concept mapping, data collection, drawing, and so on and so forth. And then there are also different formats, functions, privacy, tutorials. All these tools that we have here that are listed here, they are either free or they have a basic free account. We do not include any tools in this browser that are purely for a specific fee. So, for example, for vocabulary, if you click on vocabulary, it brings down this list to only the tools that were tagged as the tools that can be used for teaching vocabulary. And yeah, I see Bridget mentions that for North Carolina instructors, some web tools may need to be approved. Yeah, that I do not really know. I guess the different schools will have different policies, so that's definitely something you need to keep in mind, whether you need an approval or not. But again, yeah, this is a good resource, I think. Please go and explore it. And if you know some specific tools that you find extremely valuable for language teaching and learning, and you don't find them on this list, please let us know, and we will be happy to add them to this PLM Tool Browser. We can't use YouTube and SoundCloud. Interesting. I guess it's because of certain probably privacy issues. Okay, yeah, we have, I think, YouTube, SoundCloud, and Walkthrough on this list. All right, we are running out of time. Let me go back to the slides, and I believe the last slide that I had was the thank you slide. So we're kind of running out of time. We have about 10 minutes left. If you have any questions or comments regarding this specific class, lesson 3, please ask them. If not, then I will, I guess, pass the floor to Bridget, and she will probably, we will have some final discussion about the whole session, today's session.